Good evening, winners. Welcome back to another Tuesday. The flowers are blooming, the sun is shining. I have no idea if any of this is true because we're recording days early, but it's okay. We got it all happening right here, right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm still alive.
Well, that's good. We like him alive. Did we forget a guest today, Dave?
Oh, no, we got somebody.
We do?
Uh-huh.
Well, at least one of us is paying attention, but now that I think of it, I'm pretty sure we have Scott with Beyond the Shadows with us today. Hi, Scott.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
We're good, Scott. How are you?
Real good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being on, and we're joking 100% about not remembering who you were. How could we forget? So I want to start off by asking, who came up with the name Beyond the Shadows?
That's funny. We went back and forth for a long time. It took us, you would think that would be an easy task, but it took us probably 2 weeks to settle on one.
Wow.
We were all over. We had something shadows in it all along, but we didn't settle on the final name for like 2 weeks. And I think Ryan is the one that actually came up with it in the end.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. I like it. It's a sick name. I love it.
Yeah. Well, we searched, make sure nobody had anything like that. And then as soon as we dropped it, someone else came out with a podcast, the exact same name at the exact same time.
You're kidding. Oh my God.
No. So there's another one out there floating around, but it is what it is.
Well, we'll go to yours. We're not going to listen to theirs. We're going to listen to Scott Beyond the Shadows, everybody. Let's not venture over to the other one yet. So, Scott, I got to say, I'm a listener. I love the show. You guys do an incredible job with the research. Just phenomenal. You know, that's important to me especially. But how did you kind of start this journey into podcasting?
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. I think I had talked to you a little bit earlier, and I was saying I can't stand to be cooped up in the winter. I get like seasonal disorder. I don't like wintertime. I like to be outside, being able to move around and do things. Yeah, and I'm like, I got to do something. I listen to podcasts all the time. And I thought, maybe I'll try it. And then I hit Ryan up and I'm like, hey, how do you feel about doing the podcast? And instantly I got a message back. All right, let's do it. I was really surprised. And then I'm like, cool, what are we going to do? Wow. I had no idea.
I love it. I love the support.
But yeah, we started probably like a month after, we started looking into stuff, how to do this and that. And then next thing you know, here we are.
Here you are. Well, I'm glad that you did because, oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know. You just got to go check them out. And we'll drop your socials at the end so everybody can run to your accounts and follow and heart and subscribe and leaving, you beautiful 5-star glowing reviews in the whole nine. All that.
Oh, we appreciate that. Ryan told me to tell you guys the same thing, and that he listens to you guys to your show too. He likes it a lot. So he also told me not to embarrass us, and then he told me that. Then he remembered. He said that's probably actually what we do. So go ahead and embarrass us. Oh, that's kind of our thing. So
I love it.
We had Tyler from Men of Misfortune last time, and
yes,
I know you're in the Podapalooza chat, right?
Yes.
You're in there.
Well, I had to mute it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know why you had to mute it.
Coming through there, but yes, I was in there.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Tyler asked for a new name for his new show that he's going to be coming out with, and we threw a ton of stuff. There was a ton of stuff that came out, and a lot of it we probably can't repeat here. But yeah, I think at some point you were like, guys, there's too much.
It was a lot.
There was a couple beyond beyond in there and some shadow stuff, so we had to shut that down.
Well, Scott, I know you've heard a couple episodes that we've done with guests before, so I have a feeling that you saw this coming, but do you want to play a little game?
Sure.
The enthusiasm. So the game is called Red Flag, Green Flag, and surely you can imagine the concept, but basically I want you to tell us one thing that a stranger or somebody who didn't know you would view as like a positive thing, and then something that somebody might see as like a bad, like a ooh, not so hot thing.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Red flag.
Yep, like a negative.
Yeah, that's red flag. Probably a little short tempered. You know,
I feel
if I get mad, I'll take it for a while, and then I take it for a while, and then I blow up. That's probably my shortest coming.
I relate.
Yeah, I'm pretty outspoken too.
Okay.
I don't think I'm toxic like Tyler is, but
you know what's so funny about that?
no.
He changed that though, didn't he?
Yeah, I was just going to say he actually reached out after the episode and was like, I've done some retrospection and I think I'd like to change my answers. Like, I love that it was like a thought provoking, like made him think kind of thing.
Can you do a voiceover on that?
Yeah, I'll just sub it in real quickly. Put in what he said.
So let's see. Now, green flag. I'd say I am very, very loyal.
Aww.
If someone has helped me or if someone on my side or whatever, I'm extremely loyal to a fault.
That's a really good green flag.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. Damn. We have a lot of guests that come on the show and we ask this question to all of them. And a lot of them have like loyalty or like honesty. Like those are I love those people.
Well, it is. I mean, it's something.
Good evening, winners. Welcome back to another Tuesday. The flowers are blooming. The sun is shining. I have no idea if any of this is true because we're recording days early, but it's okay. We got it all happening right here, right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm still alive.
Well, that's good. We like him alive. Did we forget a guest today, Dave?
Oh, no, we got somebody.
We do?
Uh-huh.
Well, at least one of us is paying attention, but now that I think of it, I'm pretty sure we have Scott with Beyond the Shadows with us today. Hi, Scott.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
We're good, Scott. How are you?
Real good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being on, and we're joking 100% about not remembering who you were. How could we forget? So I want to start off by asking, who came up with the name Beyond the Shadows?
That's funny. We went back and forth for a long time. It took us, you would think that would be an easy task, but it took us probably 2 weeks to settle on one.
Wow.
We were all over. We had something shadows in it all along, but we didn't settle on the final name for like 2 weeks. And I think Ryan is the one that actually came up with it in the end.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. I like it. It's a sick name. I love it.
Yeah. Well, we searched, make sure nobody had anything like that. And then as soon as we dropped it, someone else came out with a podcast, the exact same name at the exact same time.
You're kidding. Oh my God.
No. So there's another one out there floating around, but it is what it is.
Well, we'll go to yours. We're not going to listen to theirs. We're going to listen to Scott Beyond the Shadows, everybody. Let's not venture over to the other one yet. So, Scott, I got to say, I'm a listener. I love the show. You guys do an incredible job with the research. Just phenomenal. That's important to me especially. But how did you kind of start this journey into podcasting?
Thank you. I appreciate the compliments. I think I had talked to you a little bit earlier and I was saying I can't stand to be cooped up in the winter. I get like seasonal disorder. I don't like wintertime. I like to be outside, being able to move around and do things. Yeah, and I'm like, I got to do something. I listen to podcasts all the time. And I thought, maybe I'll try it. And then I hit Ryan up and I'm like, hey, how do you feel about doing the podcast? And instantly I got a message back. All right, let's do it. I was really surprised. And then I'm like, cool, what are we going to do? Wow. I had no idea.
I love it. I love the support.
But yeah, we started probably like a month after, we started looking into stuff, how to do this and that. And then next thing you know, here we are.
Here you are. Well, I'm glad that you did because, oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know. You just got to go check them out. And we'll drop your socials at the end so everybody can run and to your accounts and follow and heart and subscribe and leaving, you beautiful 5-star glowing reviews and the whole nine. All that.
Absolutely.
Oh, we appreciate that. Ryan told me to tell you guys the same thing. And that he listens to you guys, to your show too. He likes it a lot. So he also told me not to embarrass us. And then he told me that then he remembered, he said, that's probably actually what we do. So go ahead and embarrass us. That's kind of our thing. So
I love it.
We had Tyler from Minimus Fortune last time. And
yes,
I know you're in the Podapalooza chat, right?
Yes.
You're in there.
Well, I had to mute it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know why you had to mute it.
Coming through there, but yes, I was in there.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Tyler asked for a new name for his new show that he's going to be coming out with, and we threw a ton of stuff. There was a ton of stuff that came out, and a lot of it we probably can't repeat here. But yeah, I think at some point you were like, guys, it's too much.
It was a lot.
There was a couple beyond the. There was a couple beyond in there and some shadow stuff, so we had to shut that down.
Well, Scott, I know you've heard a couple episodes that we've done with guests before, so I have a feeling that you saw this coming. But do you want to play a little game?
Sure.
The enthusiasm. So the game is called Red Flag, Green Flag. And surely you can imagine the concept. But basically, I want you to tell us one thing that a stranger or somebody who didn't know you would view as like a positive thing. And then something that somebody might see as like a bad, like a, ooh, not so hot thing.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Red flag?
Yep, like a negative.
Yeah, that's red flag. Probably a little short-tempered, If I get mad, I'll take it for a while, and then I take it for a while, and then I blow up. That's probably my shortest coming.
I relate.
Yeah, I'm pretty outspoken too.
Okay.
I don't think I'm toxic like Tyler is, but
you know what's so funny about that?
He changed that though, didn't he?
Yeah, I was just going to say he actually reached out after the episode and was like, I've done some retrospection and I think I'd like to change my answers. Like, I love that it was like a thought-provoking, like made him think kind of thing.
Can you do a voiceover on that?
Yeah, I'll just sub it in real quickly. Put in what he said.
So let's see. Now, green flag. I'd say I am very, very loyal.
Aww.
If someone has helped me or if someone on my side or whatever, I'm extremely loyal to a fault.
That's a really good green flag.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. Damn. We have a lot of guests that come on the show and we ask this question to all of them. And a lot of them have like loyalty or like honesty. Like those are I love those people.
Well, it is. I mean, it's something that you look for in other people. That's the one thing, if you know you can trust somebody, it changes everything.
No, 100%. I agree with that. Trust is huge to me and to a lot of my friends too. I feel like you find similar people, as like your tribe or like your group of close people, and mine always value that.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that. Yeah. And you guys too. So we're going to dive into segments here just before we get to the meat, because we have the meat, you Arby's loving bastards, but we're just holding it out until we're ready. So I wanted to go over our question of the week from our last episode, and our question was a good one. I really enjoyed this one. And our question was, tell us about a time that you protected someone, whether it be human or animal, from harm. So I figure we'll have our guest go first. Scott, do you have a story of such?
I work as a respiratory therapist, so there's a lot of times I've brought people back from the brink.
Wow. The blink.
But... Oh, yes. I actually had to protect my son and Ryan's son from a crazy-ass rooster that tried to get them both.
Oh, my God. You and Sam with the farm
No, actually,
animals.
we were having a birthday party for the two of them. We both have young boys that are about close to the same age. His is a little bit older than mine. And I had some chickens, and they used to roam in the yard, and they were messing with them. But the rooster was chasing them down, going after them.
Oh my gosh. That's so many violent roosters these days. What happened?
Well, we'll just say there's a missing rooster report out there now. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a good tale of heroism, at least. I mean, that you saved some children, so that's good.
No, it wasn't anything. It was nothing heroic, but.
Well, that's still a good story of saving someone. Dayvid, do you have a story of saving?
Nothing's really popping to mind.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's
Nothing.
pretty tough. I'll have to get back to you in 24 hours.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Tyler. All right. Well, we can go over some of the answers that we got on Instagram then, because we did get a few. So we're going to start at the top. We had Social Detective Podcast that said, "Oh man, after how long I worked, I'm trying to pick a really good one." I said I was going to read whatever was submitted. So we had Perplexity Mystery Podcast who said, "One time while in college, I came home from work, parked my car at the apartment complex I lived at. It was a Friday night, and I noticed some of my neighbors must be having a party. Then I saw a girl sprint towards a car and try to quickly get to the passenger seat. When she tried to shut her door, a young guy appeared right behind her and tried to pry the door open. She fought back and forth with him, eventually got the door open, and enraged, he began beating on the door and the windshield. I was in an abusive relationship at the time, and while I didn't have the courage then to stand up for myself, it's like I saw myself in front of me in that moment, and something bubbled up. While he beat on that car, yelled and cursed, I jumped out of my car and screamed, 'Leave her the hell alone.' He stopped what he was doing and turned towards me, took a couple steps, and said something like, 'Who do you think you are?' I told him, 'Leave now or I'm calling the police.' So he left, got the girl out of the car, and made me realize I was in my own abusive relationship, and I mustered the strength to get out." Like,
Good for her.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Pretty lame.
Make sure to...
I like to redact mine.
Yeah, that one's a much better example of heroism on all accounts than ours. So you can... We also had Tinfoil Hat Hobo, and he said, "Tackled a self-unaliver off the top of a bridge, saved a baby from a locked hot car, brought a man back with CPR, got Christmas cards from his family for years, and responded to a call at my parents' house while on duty, and had to give my own mother CPR in official capacity for heart failure," which is, wow.
I've done that too. Shoot, I forgot. I did the Heimlich on an old guy. Yeah, at a nursing home when I was a respiratory student. I had to.
Oh my gosh. So we also had our buddies Nisha and Buddha over at Hot Garbage Show. And Nisha said she had to save someone's French bulldog from being hit by a car. It was so scary. The man had his back turned, putting something in his car, and the dog tried to run across the street. Thank goodness it was a residential street, and the car that was coming heard me when I screamed for him to stop. I picked the dog up and carried it back to the owner. It made me so mad. I've been trying to get a French bulldog for years, and motherfuckers don't know how to protect their $1,000 investment. Which, true that. Thank you for saving the dog, Niche. You freaking rock.
Way to go, Nisha.
Heck
Awesome.
yeah. Yep. Then we had Linny Luhu, who said, "There was a cat sitting on the side of a highway in Nevada when I was on a 3-week road trip. I thought maybe it was dead at first, and I flipped a U-turn and stopped. It was scared and inching into the road. Seemed to be abandoned as there weren't any homes very close, but they called everyone imaginable and finally found a ranch family who said they would take the cat," which that just restores all of my faith in humanity. Then we had JD City Hill, who pulled a turtle off the road, and we had Drewski and Zook, who said, "Zook, myself, and other people were getting hunted, and I had to have them follow me out."
Wait, you got to go back. He was being hunted?
He didn't elaborate. He just said he was being hunted. I don't know by what. Let us know, Cryptid Warfare.
We'll just brush over that.
I mean,
we need more details.
Yeah, please.
I want to know where you were getting hunted.
Yeah, and by what you're getting hunted by. They did not give any further details, but it is Drewski and Zook, so
It could be. It is cryptid warfare.
that's what I'm saying.
Cryptid warfare. They're
Maybe-
probably getting hunted by some sort of cryptid. He saved them. Way to
Ah,
go, Drew.
them. Yeah, knowing them. We also had a hiker, our buddy, who said, I've saved many birds. Why is it always birds? I'm basically the bird lady from Home Alone. And then we had Catherine E. Rogers, who said, I fought off a 100-pound pit bull after he mauled my youngest son and got him off of him and got my son out, which is, whew, holy moly, girl. That's crazy. Good answers.
How about you, AG?
Oh, a time I protected someone. Well, the only thing that comes to mind that matches like what your guys' speed is when I was a manager at McDonald's, there was a girl that was there with like her aide, and then her aide went to the bathroom or something. And while she was gone, this girl like had a full-on seizure and like was just like flopping around on the floor and was choking and like, I don't know, she was choking on her vomit or something. I don't know. But like people were just like standing around. Nobody was doing anything. This poor girl was just convulsing on the floor, choking on her own vomit. So like jumped in to try to help. But like
people freeze in those situations, man. They just freeze.
Everybody froze. They're just staring. I was like, she's not going to revive herself. Like, go freaking unclog. I was trying not to get my fingers bit off, though, because I know people and all that aren't, I don't know. But she's fine.
That's good. You did something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least I took action and didn't just stand there and stare. I guess I can say that, but that's just what comes to mind. But we're going to move on real quick and do some shout outs. Scott, I just wanted to give you a moment. I don't know if you have anyone that you want to shout out. I know we have very similar circles, but the floor is yours.
You know, and it's all the same ones you've heard and a few others. You know, I could go through, but I always leave somebody out and I feel bad every time because there's so many.
Yeah.
You know,
I know.
And then you go through and I can ramble off 10 and there's another 10 that I forget, you know?
Oh, I hear you. And we, like I said, we run in the same circles kind of. So a lot of the people that we give our shout outs to are the same listeners, but you know who you are, all of you guys that listen to us. I did want to give a more personal shout out real quickly to the podcast Now About That with James and Sarah. They did a really sweet, like 2-minute long shout out to us on one of their most recent episodes. And they said some really touching things. And I still am like riding a high that I got from listening to what they said. They're just so sweet and I love them so much. And I really want you guys to go check them out. They're a super chill. Like if you're someone who likes to listen in the car before bed, their podcast is designed for you. It's just so calming. It's got relaxing music. They're funny. Go check them out. I listen on Apple Podcasts. They're worth it. All right, guys, this is an animal attack story, as I'm sure you're aware. It is pretty bad, but it's not as bad as some of our others. But that being said, stop letting your kids listen in. Why is 2% of our audience kids 11 and up? That's not appropriate, and it's unacceptable. Moving on, guys. What comes to mind when you think of July afternoons?
Hot.
Exactly, hot. A nice, calm, warm day, maybe. That sounds pretty luxurious, right? Well, we're going to go there to this nice, sunshiny, pleasant little Saturday afternoon. It's July 23rd to be specific, and the year is 2016. We're going to be focusing on one family in specifically, the Zhao Lu family, and it consists of Li Zhao, her husband, Mr. Lu, both of whom are in their 30s, their 2-year-old son, and Li's 57-year-old mother, who we're going to refer throughout the story as Grandma Zhao. Really thorough histories that I was able to dig up. I know, but look, I searched the internet, like I searched everywhere. This is the most information that I could find on their names, even going through Chinese newspapers. Oh, by the way, we're in China. Beijing, to be more specific. And it's the weekend, you know, the family's together. They're wanting to do something fun, and they're in a pretty significant area of Beijing. Lots to do. They're pretty close to the Great Wall of China, but they live there, so there's only so much wall that you can gander at before that gets boring, you know, relatable if you're in a touristy area like me. So this particular day, Mr. Lu's driving, his wife is beside him, Grandma Zhao is in the back with their young son, and they're just having a good family day. The family decides they're going to go to one of the other big attractions in the area, and they start heading towards the Beijing Battling Wildlife World Park, which the government tourism site for Beijing boasts as the largest zoo in the country. So it sounds like a good time. They head over there. They've got, get there a little after lunchtime, and they pull up to the entrance. A lot of this park is a little drive-through safari, which is cool. So animals are free roaming, and you're just driving around through them. I'm still not a fan of that, but I suppose it's better than locking them in cages. So The family arrive and they pay the equivalent of around $13 USD per adult to enter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the attendant at the gate hands them, a few pieces of paper on a clipboard to sign. They don't really look at it. They just kind of sign it, as one does, and hand it back. And the guard waves them through the large barricade into the actual park, which I'm going to send you guys a picture of in our little groupie chat. So this park, it has a history, not necessarily a terrific one, but we're going to talk about what I found. There's a lot of varying information about this park and a lot of travel guide websites that offer very conflicting details, but the most common sources that I found said the park is over 6,000 acres in size.
Oh.
It's home to more than 10,000 animals across hundreds of different species, and the park sits literally right on the northwest portion of the Great Wall. It's less than 30 miles from the center of Beijing, which is China's capital city, so it's a big deal. And they have tigers, lions, bears, birds, bees, Battlestar Galactica, just kidding, but all the critters. This park does have a bit of a sketchy history. I couldn't find an opening date or any idea of how old it is, which seems ridiculous, but it is hard to find a lot of things about this park that aren't relevant to an injury or a death of some kind, or this case. So our timeline of animal-related injuries at this battling wildlife world is pretty vast, so we're going to start with the earliest account. The first incident I could find seemed to have happened in 2009, and it regarded 3 men who were walking home from a long day exploring the area around the Great Wall, and it was getting dark, and they thought they'd take a shortcut to get home. So the 3 guys decide what they're going to do is there's just this big fence in the woods. They're just going to jump this fence, climb through this forested area, and get home just a few minutes faster. Little did they know that this fence was actually keeping an area of a tiger exhibit at Battling separate from the rest of the forest.
How tall was this wall?
I don't know. I mean, one would think pretty tall. It looked like chain link maybe, though, that they maybe climbed. So the 3 guys, they jump the fence, they go in there, they get attacked by a tiger. 2 of the young men do live, but one does succumb to his injuries and dies. So that was the first. In 2012, a woman had got out of her car to urinate in the bushes and was bitten yet again by a tiger. And that same year, in 2012, a tiger happened to escape the enclosure where they were kept because the electric fence was turned off to allow a patrol car to pass through the enclosure. And although the escaped tiger didn't cause any issues from what I can find, still a pretty big no-no. A couple years after that, 2014, a security guard working for the park was attacked and killed by what? Any guesses? By a tiger. Yeah. So 2016, we're on a 2-year thing here, clearly. A habitat worker is trampled to death, this time by an elephant. It's good to mix it up. I don't want to, make it look too suspicious.
Yeah.
And although it did happen more recently than the case we're discussing today, in 2017, a man was bitten by a sun bear when he rolled down his window to feed it. He was fine, but needless to say, we've established a pattern of a lot of animal-related injuries and deaths here due to the stupidity of people. And a lot of them sustained because we are trusting average members of the public to drive themselves through areas with animals capable of potentially killing us. So make better choices. The park does offer guided tours where they drive the guests in a protected vehicle, but most people are going to want to drive themselves at their own pace. And I'm just picturing all the animals there have these really deep smoker's coughs from the fumes of all these cars idling all day. Just the mental image that comes to mind. So our family, we're again 2016, the Zhaos, the Lus, they're driving through this park and they're in a little 4-door white sedan and they enter the big area where, you guessed it, the tigers live. Now, I couldn't find if this family had been to this park before, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like, there's signage. It does look very wild, but there's these roads and paths through. There's signage. There's a general idea that you're driving through a zoo. There's loudspeakers that play repeating messages about staying in your cars, keeping your doors and windows up and locked. There's workers in big safari SUVs all over the place, just kind of standing guard. So obviously there's going to be periods where you're driving through these large wooded areas and you can't see anything. The tigers aren't just always going to be doing cartwheels in the street. A lot of times they're sleeping and hiding in their little spots. But nonetheless, you're still pretty aware that you're in a tiger exhibit at this point. So the family's driving through. They're getting really disappointed that they haven't seen a tiger, but they're like, we're still having a good day. It's still nice out. For reasons that we're going to discuss later, Lee asks her husband to pull over the car. So one of the two, again, as we'll discuss later, is feeling ill. Well, we word it this way for a reason, and you'll see why. So the car stops, and Lee does what we are all hoping she does not do with a 2-year-old child and with a 57-year-old woman in the back seat. She swings the passenger door open and steps out of the driver's side door, which also opens. So now at this point, she's standing outside the door waiting for her husband to step out. Now she's in the middle of a tiger enclosure, mind you, and it holds 10 free-roaming tigers, but not just any tiger. We're not talking your typical domestic feline here. No. These are Amur tigers, otherwise known as Siberian tigers, and they're the largest and most powerful of all tigers. Do you guys know anything about Amur tigers?
They are monsters.
They are monsters. They're enormous. Like I said, the largest of all the tigers. So we're going to go a little bit into their biology here. Their Latin classification is Panthera tigrosapteca, and they are nature's perfect killer by very design. Amur tigers have the longest fur out of all of the tigers, as well as the least number of stripes, usually around 100, and just like fingerprints, no two coats are the same. From the moment they are born, they are blind, until about 9 days into life when they begin to develop their keen, incredible movement-based eyesight. Cubs will develop teeth at 2 weeks, and they will stay with mom and nurse until they're about 6 months of age, at which point mom begins teaching her how to hunt, her little babies. They will take their first kill of their own at about 2 years of age, at which time they leave mom now that they're successful tigers. But they aren't confident tigers, which is why they will usually remain in mom's territory, of which the size varies depending on the availability of resources. I found that to be really adorable that they stick close to mom. It's really sweet. Tigers are incredibly powerful animals that are capable of bringing down animals weighing even more than themselves. An adult tiger can reach weights of up to 300 kilograms. That's 661 pounds for our non-American friends. The largest on record was 384 kilograms, which is about 846.58 pounds. Holy cow. Any of you guys taken on a grown Amur tiger?
I have taken down.
You've taken a tiger?
I've taken down several tigers, yes.
Oh, okay. Like baby tigers? Like full-grown Amur tigers?
No.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so. Yeah.
No.
You tried to front, though. You tried.
Mm-mm.
So because of their sheer size, Amur tigers have to eat between 9 to 10 kilograms of meat every day, which is about 20 to 25 pounds. They spend the majority of their days searching for food via hunting and fishing. They are solitary animals, meaning they don't typically cooperate to take down prey. And their typical food sources include hooved animals like ungulates and hogs. So if you translate that to the number of hoofed animals they kill, it would be like 50 to 70 a year. 95% of the wild Siberian tiger population lives in the far east portion of Russia, but there is a small number representing about 5% of the population that live in China. As of the 1940s, there were only 40 Amur tigers left in the wild. The latest numbers I could find, which dated to 2020, indicated that there are now about 540 tigers in Russia. We aren't sure how many in China. They consider that a success story, which, I mean, I guess, but it took us 80 years to gain 500 tigers. Like, it seems like a long time.
Yeah, but can you imagine if there was a lot more? And then everywhere you went and you walked around the city, you had to worry about getting eaten by a tiger.
I mean, I guess that's a good point.
I mean, there's a reason these populations aren't huge.
I mean,
because then we would be their dinner source.
Yeah, you have a good point. I just think, like, over the course of that many years, I feel like we should have thousands more, but I don't know. I'm pessimistic.
I mean, if they can have thousands, that's great. Just keep them over there.
Not keep them over here. Well, they are protected under the IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and they have been since 1947. So,
don't they have a lot in captivity here, like Tiger King? Did y'all see that show?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes. And now that guy's in captivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that I've read somewhere that in Texas, or it may be just the entire United States, that there are more tigers in captivity than there are in the wild.
Wow.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Is that right?
Yep, it is. Good
Way to go,
fact.
Scott.
Yeah, smart.
Wow.
I like that.
And I don't think a lot of them are in zoos and stuff either. I think a lot of them are in like private residence.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yep, that's the case. With little collars and chains and taking shits in the yard and stuff.
Yeah, just taking the tiger for a walk.
Yeah, strolling to PetSmart, taking the
I think
tiger.
Mike Tyson had one at one point.
Had a tiger?
Yeah, he had a couple.
Wow.
They were in The Hangover.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
that's
the best
right.
movie ever.
How did I forget about that?
Well,
Mike
Tyson came he was in the movie because they stole Mike Tyson's tiger.
I didn't know that was actually his tiger, though.
Yeah.
Like, in real life, that was his tiger? In realsies?
Yeah, that was
I can't imagine having an animal that, like, is... I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable having an animal that big in the house, knowing, like, if I wake up wrong and, like, accidentally hit it, it's going to eat me type of thing. I couldn't do that. No thanks. No predators in the house for me. Did you guys have a animal
nothing
that
that's
size?
going to eat you. I got a wiener dog. That's as big as it's getting. I'm not getting eaten by my pets.
You never know.
We might eat him.
Oh.
No! Oh my gosh, we're getting canceled now. Watch out.
Now everybody just quit watching Beyond the Shadows. Listen to Beyond the Shadows. I'm just kidding.
He's talking about a hot dog,
It
all
never
right,
hurt my
guys? Come
pup.
on.
We're not eating dogs in here, guys. So now that we know a good bit about immortal tigers, let's go back to Li Zhao. It is where we left her. It was 3 p.m. on this beautiful July Saturday, and she had just gotten out of that little white sedan. So remember, she had walked around to the front. She was standing just outside of the open driver's side door, and Mr. Liu, her husband, is just about to get out of the car. So all of a sudden, Li's standing there, and the cars behind her begin honking. And she kind of turns her head to them, not really sure of what's going on. But there's a nearby park employee, and he begins yelling over the loudspeaker to get back in the car. And she still looks really confused, and she's looking back at the car that's honking, and then she sees out of the corner of her eye something move, something big. And instinctively, she looks over at the movement, and terror dawns on her immediately. And she realizes that what it is an adult Amur tiger, and it is mid-charge. And it's got Li in its sights. Li backs up and tries to curve her body, like moves her belly inward to try to get it out of the reach of the incoming paw, but the tiger is too quick and it swipes at her, knocks her to the ground, and he's way stronger, so he sinks his long canines right into Li, and with ease, he drags her away. The whole thing, from the moment that Li gets out of the car to the moment that the tiger makes contact, is 18 seconds. Her husband, who has just watched his wife be dragged off by a tiger, begins to panic. He jumps out of the car, runs a few feet forward, stops, turns, runs back a few feet, kind of back and forth as he notices a second tiger begins to descend. Bravery takes control again, and he runs full force towards the tigers, and as soon as he does, the back door swings open, and who else but Li's 57-year-old mother runs towards the action.
We have to.
So Mr. Li kind of doubles back. Mr. Liu, I'm sorry, I just called him Mr. Li. I'm going to confuse everybody. Mr. Liu doubles back, and he reaches Grandma Zhao, who's Li's mom, and grabs her, and they both run towards Li, who's doing her best to fight off this enormous tiger that now has her by the neck. So we're going to take just a brief pause here before we move any further, because I don't know, this situation may or may not be sounding familiar to a lot of you listening. And this might sound a whole lot like a video that's been making its rounds again pretty recently because, see, the zoo had security cameras in place and everything we've described up to now has been caught on video. So I'm going to send it to you now. It's not very graphic, but it is short. So if you need more than one go, take your time. Watch it a couple times. I want to know, have you seen this before? Give me your thoughts.
Yes,
as you're
I've seen
watching.
this video.
You have seen it. Scott, have
Absolutely.
you?
I have not.
Okay, interesting. So take it a couple rounds. Like I said, if you need more than one pass, take your time. But if you could just watch it and then kind of walk us through what you're seeing as you're seeing it.
Yeah, it looks like any old street.
Yeah, it doesn't
He
look
was so quick. Yeah.
So quick. Yeah.
Here's something interesting that now I'm seeing it again is when she goes around and as she's going around, the door opens, the driver's side door opens fully.
Right.
But then it gets like it's closing and then she grabs it. So was he closing it because he saw the tiger coming?
So I don't think that he closed it. I think like what happened is, if you like open a car door too much and it doesn't hit that perfect spot and it kind of falls back a little bit at you and like catches. I think maybe that's what happened because you can see that she like goes to grab it
Yeah.
as it goes in. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I don't know if he saw it. I would imagine not,
Right.
based on how he reacted and like ran after her. I think it didn't open far enough and it just like bounced
No,
back.
you're right. It looks like maybe it opened too much and it started to bounce back. That could be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me
You know
anyway.
what makes it really sad is the little march she does. She does a little cute little march, like when she gets out of her side, and then she does a little march across. And oh man, not
Yeah.
knowing, did she make
No,
it? I
no.
can't remember.
So good segue, David. So you can see in the video, and for those listening at home, you can check this out online or on Instagram because we'll post it. The tiger drags her off the screen. So Lee and Grandma Zhao run after her. There's a park employee there in an SUV. They drive up like immediately after. So we've got Grandma Zhao, the badass that she is. She straight up bitch slaps the tiger that's attacking Lee, which saves her life. Fucking Grandma of the Year award right there. So the first tiger that had her daughter drops her, takes off a little bit, like runs away. The second tiger that appears right after Lee was dragged off screen comes up and then grabs Grandma Zhao. Then, as the little safari SUV with the employee is approaching, a third tiger actually comes up, which is interesting because tigers are usually solitary, but in this environment where they're all bored to shit, seems to not be the case. So Lee's just lying there. She's sobbing and bloodied, and her husband is frantically running from her to Grandma and then to the cars. And the second tiger still has Grandma's Zhao. It's not backing down. Mr. Liu is like yelling at the other cars to get out of their car and help, which, okay, no, thank you. I was smart enough to stay my ass in the car. So park staff, they're again like, dude, come on. We got rules to this shit. So they're like, get in your car and leave. So they need him out of the way. They're like, Vamoosh, get out. So he does at 15:02, which is 3:02. He literally like gets in his car and leaves. He's like, bye grandma, bye wifey, leaves him at the side of the road. Upon instruction, not voluntarily. So with him and all the other cars out of the way, park staff can begin focusing on trying to help Grandma and Lee, but they can't do anything when there's 10 loose tigers on the hunt. So they're trying to corral them into their cages. They're finally successful at that, but it takes them 14 minutes to do so. So finally the tigers are away, the park staff can finally exit their vehicle safely, and they run to the two. It's 15:16, 16 minutes have passed since the tiger initially attacked Lee. Grandma Zhao sadly no longer has a pulse, so they begin life-saving measures. Lee is still alive. She's lying there in agony, but she has a pulse. Her face is completely mauled, her neck, her back. So they both go to the hospital, and they get there a half an hour later at 3:44 p.m. Right away, they start working on Grandma Zhao for an hour and a half, but they finally do declare her dead at 5:12 in the afternoon.
Grandma's a hero in this situation, big time. That is
For
massive
100%.
hero.
Yep. Lee does go into surgery
Damn.
early the next morning, which happened to be Sunday morning, and they worked on putting her lower face and neck back together. So, immediately after this incident, the Battling Wildlife World is ordered to suspend all operations by authority of the Yangqing District government while they conduct a thorough investigation. I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry, but what happened? But we're going to go through it anyway. So Battling, in light of this, proceeds to post on their social media that the area is anticipating torrential rain and they're closing due to weather. Good cover.
Exactly.
And Lee comes out of her surgery pretty soon after and begins to heal pretty much right away. All of the zoo supporters begin bashing her. Like, rumors start. There's a really popular one going around. A lot of the sources that I looked at repeated this even in the media, but it's the rumor that she got out of the car because she was fighting with her husband. And so it was a really popular rumor. It spread really, really quickly. And David, you mentioned like a little stomp that she does.
It's a cute little stomp. It's like a march. It's like a little march and everything's okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you see
now I
it
did
as
watch
being-
it and I did watch it with the thought that they did have an argument. So I did see it like that from that angle. But afterwards, reading that, and it wasn't an argument. Someone wasn't feeling well,
Right.
so she was going to take over driving.
Exactly.
That makes more sense. You look at it
Yes.
again. But what I'm thinking is, why the hell did she get out of the car and not out of the park. I'm sure you have information on that, right?
Of course,
Yeah, my girl.
I do have information on that. So we'll get into that here because we have some more information on her lawsuit about the park.
You're absolutely right.
So following Lee's recovery, she decides like what happened should not have happened. In her perspective, like this was all, rather than taking accountability and face this mountain of medical and funeral expense debt that you're in, why not distract yourself with, a hobby like, I don't know, sue the zoo, So that's what she does. And you're probably asking like, what the hell did the zoo do? And that's a good question. So Lee states in her lawsuit that she wants to prove that the Beijing Battling World Wildlife Park should bear part of the responsibility of the incident because they did not make it clear enough that she was still within the tiger exhibit when she got out of the car. So they bring up the contract that she signed when she entered the park, and she's like, well, we didn't know what we were signing. You didn't tell us anything. You didn't discuss it. You just threw us a clipboard and said to sign the paper. So they're like, we didn't read anything, at which point I'd be like, okay, but do you read contracts when you buy a car? Hey guys, we're going to be right back in just a jiffy, but in the meantime, I want you to hear a couple words from some of our favorite people, Nisha and Buddha Badass over at Hot Garbage Show. Please check out their trailer here.
Top of the day, everyone. I'm Nisha.
And I'm Buddha Badass.
And we're the hosts of Hot Garbage True Crime Edition. Do you guys like true crime?
I really don't. I feel like you force me on this show every freaking time I come here.
Do you guys enjoy listening to victims and murderers and grotesque stuff?
People that are sick in the freaking head. That's who likes it. That's who likes it.
Well, if you like that kind of stuff, then you should totally check us out. I mean, every single Thursday, we drop the most hottest cases, and we have fun while doing it.
You drop the most hottest cases? You drop murder and death. Kill. Death.
How many people can actually say that they have fun while listening to a true crime podcast? And I feel like that's what we do here.
So you're just not going to listen to me now? I'm just going to say this and you're not going to listen to me?
And you know what? Our listeners are not just our listeners, but they're our friends and our trash pandas. We love you guys.
They're a lot, and I will agree to that part, but I'm still just mad at you for just not talking to me. They're paying you this well to say all this.
So check out Hot Garbage on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Check us out every single Thursday. A new episode drops.
I officially hate this commercial. On some real.
No, we went through all that. I was just about to tell you the details about her lawsuit.
Okay.
So Lee's lawsuit, a lot different than what you're typically thinking. Let me just ask, before we even get into this, what amount do you think Lee asked for compensation in her lawsuit?
$1 billion.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, in China, I don't know how many yen it would be. I'd say equivalent to a couple million here.
Okay, so maybe not as much as what you guys are thinking. We're indoctrinated by United States lawsuit culture, so
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
She tops her lawsuit with the demands of a payout of 1.55 million yuan, which is apparently how you pronounce yen there. I looked that up specifically for this episode. So that is the USD equivalent to $299,917.52. So where on earth do you think she got that number, you might be asking? Because they're in China. They don't have American healthcare system bills the same as, it still sucks, but not as much as American healthcare. $350,000. So Lee said that this was a cost that she came up with to cover funeral expenses, life expenses for dependents in the families, and consolation compensation for her family members. And that also included 310,000 yuan to cover her own medical bills and wages that she lost while she was recovering. She quotes as saying, wow, that wasn't even English. She was quoted as saying, and I translate, "Me and my family came up with this sum based on the degree of responsibility that we feel the park should bear." So they feel that the park is worth bearing $250,000 worth of guilt. So come on now. So the government's investigation into the park does come to a close pretty quickly. They review the super sketchy history of death and dismemberment at the park, and they see that everything is how it should be. Everything's good. Contracts, there's signage everywhere, park staff is there to monitor, so they really concluded that there were no safety concerns that the everyday visitor within the park would be exposed to, and they allow them to reopen. Battling does, however, they do not reopen the tiger exhibits for drive-through, and they reinforced some stuff, and then eventually they did reopen it, but it's only for guided tours. So to this day, you can't drive through the tiger exhibit anymore. You have to go on a guided tour. This is why we can't have nice things. So, in response to the claim that Lee didn't know she was within the confines of the tiger exhibit, they also put up huge, enormous signs everywhere to be like, you are in a tiger area, you are in a park with dangerous animals, etc. So now people can't like hop out of the little convoys and be like, I didn't know. Although, as we know, people will continue to try, like that sun bear idiot who was bit after feeding them. And this happened a year after this case, so nothing changed. But when the news comes out about the investigation, Lee is not happy. She's pissed. She's like, pissed. She's reportedly disabled and unable to work at this point, and she needs the money. So she starts a petition to the court on November 15th demanding that they make the zoo pay. So this petition does escalate to the court of Yanqing District of Beijing, and of course, since the investigation ruled that the zoo was free of wrongdoing, the judge does not order the zoo to pay. But the zoo is like, look, we get this looks bad on our part if we don't give you a dime. So they gave her a like consolation package, really, that wasn't court mandated. It was just something that they gave. And originally they wanted to do like 745,000 yuan. And that's like a little over $5,000. So she was like, what the fuck? And what an insult. And so she bitched her way up and they finally agreed to 1.2 million yuan, which is like $165,000. So quite a difference. Like they're just put that, they're like, I'll give you $5,000. Like, bro.
That's some negotiating skills right there.
So it's really funny that they offered her such like a tiny amount when she asked for like a third of a million, and they're like, we'll give you $5,000. It's just, you'd be better off being like, how about a new Kia? So nice chunk of change for literally causing this entire deal, because she got, like I said, about 165K in American dollars. But I do feel a little bad. Like she had to wear a mask everywhere she went because people would recognize her based on her scars and would ridicule her. And she lost her mom. So I feel bad because of that. But like, bear some responsibility. Like, you got yourself, you know? So I'm going to send you some more images here. And these are going to be some images from the park and then pictures of Lee's injuries. Which I'm going to use that term quite loosely because it's not much of an injury as of this moment. So here's some pictures. She has a scar on the back of her neck that's like, it's a pretty good scar, but it looks good.
That's not a pretty good scar, man. That's
disability for life, David. Disability for life.
That's light as hell. So I'm guessing they did surgery on her neck, right? Like they did some sort of, I don't know.
Yeah, you can see like suture spots. So they did do surgery to her neck, which makes sense.
But if you're thinking a tiger win at that, that's pretty damn good.
Then I'm also attaching I couldn't find a picture of the tiger exhibit specifically, but here's a picture of the lion exhibit they have. And it's literally like I'm pretty sure a cat could make that jump if he really wanted to, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just people. Just standing there.
Dude. No, I would not be there.
Yo, imagine like part of the deal the park cut was like some kind of discount on entry. 15% off park annual passes. They won't even give you the diligence of a free pass.
After I lose an arm.
They're like, you have to lose.
Some orangutan rips my arm off.
Yeah, you have to lose 2 limbs if you're looking for a free package. Otherwise, it's just 10% off. To this day, the couple deny that fighting is what provoked her to leave her car. She said that right after the incident, she was taking the wheel for her husband because he didn't feel good, which sounds like it makes the most sense because that's like, if he didn't feel good, he'd be taking the wheel. That would, kind of make sense. But like 3 months or so after this incident, one of Mr. Liu's colleagues come forward and he tells a news source that Mr. Liu told him that Lee herself was sick and that's why she got out of the car. But I don't understand then why she would were you trying to vomit on your husband? And didn't want to get the middle console wet. I don't get why you would go to his side of the car if you didn't feel good.
I guess he was trying to not sound like a punk. I think that's what it is. He's telling them this so he doesn't sound like a punk. Because she did not look sick. She was marching, I
didn't pay attention to the cars. What side of the road do they drive on? Is it the same as us?
So I don't think it's a road. I think it's just a single lane that cars drive along. So I'm not sure in China.
No, but I mean, what side of the car is the steering wheel on?
Oh, good question. I don't even know that.
Well, it appears similar to American cars because all the documentation I could find had the husband driving.
So mainland China has right side road, like just like us.
Oh, okay.
But I cannot find where the steering. I guess the steering wheel would.
It would have to be
side
where,
as us.
yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be on the same side. I would
Yeah.
think.
If their roads are built the same way, yeah, they'd have to be on the same.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So yeah,
Interesting.
she doesn't look like she's all pissed off at him when she gets out of the car to me. But I mean, I'm seeing it kind of small, but she doesn't look like she's got an. She really, that's what I thought, is she was getting out to switch places so she could drive.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. And you can kind of sway it depending on what you're like postulating about the experience. Like I was like picturing her being angry. I could kind of see how that might fit her posture because she was like, her head was moving a lot as she was talking at him through the door. So it seems like, the sassy lady that's like, oh, and I bet the fuck you would do some shit. Like, it just seems like that's like something similar to a conversation. But I also can look at it in another light and see it as just her getting out of the car to take over the wheel. So. I also was like mildly amused at how he just darts back in and out of frame the whole time. Like he's like runs over and then runs back and then runs over and runs back the whole time. Not that it was funny, but it's just like, can you imagine?
But I mean, they can't say that he didn't go because I mean, his first instinct was right out of that car and chased after the tiger. So it's not like
He was out
Yeah.
immediately.
I mean, there was no hesitation at all. I mean, once he got out of the car and he came back a little bit, I don't know what happened there. You can't see the tiger at that point, but that car unloaded where most cars wouldn't have.
I wish he had a GoPro.
Yeah, and you're heading into a fight. You're going to lose. That's bravery.
Yeah.
Can't win that.
So let's play What Would You Do? So, Scott, I'm going to put you in the situation of the person who is in the vehicle behind the family, and then you're honking at Lee to get her away from the tiger. Mr. Liu is like screaming at you to get out of the car. What are you doing in that situation? Are you going to react any differently than how that car reacted in the video?
Yeah, for people. Me and Dayvid were talking. What he said makes a lot of sense. I don't want to steal his answer, but you could drive at him with the car. I'd like to think I was brave enough to get out of the car, but reality said there's 3 tigers and there's probably more hiding in the bushes. So I doubt I'd get out of the car, but like, David's answer was to drive after him with the car, and that seems reasonable.
It's a smart answer. David, I'm going to put... What?
Go ahead.
David, you're going to be in the position of Mr. Liu, and you have just exited your vehicle, and without thinking, to save your wife from not 1, but 2 tigers at this point, are you going to be doing anything differently than how Mr. Liu acted in the video?
No. I'm going after
You're going to run back and forth?
I'm not running back and forth. I'm going directly at whatever I can do. And I know, I'm telling you, like I said before, you're not going to win this fight. You're
going to uppercut that tiger?
I'm going to do something. Something's happening.
Bitch slap it like grandma.
I have like in my car, I don't have a gun just yet. I do need to get one, but I have 2 police batons, 1 spring action, and a knife. So I would have grabbed, one of those or both and just started swinging. That's what I would have done. I would have just started swinging wildly in every direction while I'm screaming my lungs out.
In every direction?
Yeah, except for her
direction, but you're just everywhere else.
I'm trying to save her, right? But at those tigers, they're getting something. It's going to hurt. And then, of course...
Are you just like ballerina spinning with your knife out?
Absolutely, I'm
That's
pretty,
right.
pretty agile. And, yeah. Nice. That's a good idea.
You never know. It might work if you get close enough.
I feel like I'd be out there and I'm getting him down, and then I hear a noise to my like left, and it's a tiger just about to get me, and I'm just like, clever girl. And it's over.
It's over before it begins. So yeah, that was an interesting story because I saw that so many times on social media over the last couple of years. So it was really cool to get a dive into what actually happened behind that video because it does make its rounds. And now that you've seen it, it'll probably show up in your algorithm, Scott. So sorry. Our too cool for school fact is a short one. Turns out a group of tigers is called an ambush, which I just thought that was really cool.
Interesting.
They also can be called a streak, but ambush fits better. It's super appropriate. A group of tigers. So our sources for this episode, mainly Chinese sources. So Xinhua News Agency, Daily Mail, IB Times, National Geographic, Routers.com, AirEB, whatever that is, ArabNews.com, World Wildlife Fund for the tiger details that I collected, Beijing News, LA Times. They received their info directly from the bureau that investigated this situation, so I got a good timeline of events there. And then Weibo.com had a really nice timeline also of what happened. I also found a lot of info about like Lee and about her husband, but finding anything on Grandma Zhao was impossible. Like I couldn't even find a photo of her. So if anybody listening happens to know this case or be in China or have access, please, if you're able to send a photo, please do. I'd love to have a picture to put up with her name because it's really sad. She went out saving her kid's life. It's pretty bad. And she bitch slapped a tiger. Like what a G.
Yeah, really, man. Tough.
Question of the week for this episode is, would you put yourself in harm's way to help a stranger? Why or why not? And no judgment. If you would like your answer to be anonymous, just message it or email it to me and I got you. I won't put your name out there for everybody. But yeah, let us know your thoughts and we'll talk about it on the next episode. Our joke of the day.
Yay!
I've been excited for this one because this is like an older one, but it's just really cute and funny. So. A blonde called her boyfriend and said, "Can you please come over here? I have a killer jigsaw puzzle. I cannot figure out for the life of me how to get it started." So he's like, "Yeah, that's fine. When is it supposed to be when it's finished?" And she's like, "Well, according to the picture on the front of the box, it's a tiger." So he's like, "All right." So he goes over to her house and shows up and she lets him in. She shows him this table where she has this puzzle spread across the whole table. And he's looking at the pieces and he looks at the box and he's like, "First of all, no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to assemble this into anything resembling a tiger." So he took her little hand and kind of had, stood her up to follow him. And he says, "Secondly, let's just relax. Let's get a nice cup of hot chocolate. And then," he sighed, "we can put all of these frosted flakes back into the box."
Oh, oh man.
That's